And most importantly, one thing that people don't think about is fees. Even though you hear the phrase like if you don't win, you don't pay.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean the attorney's free. And that's one I made little video about that. I'm like, yeah, personal injury lawyers aren't free. We do get paid, and we get paid a percentage of whatever your settlement is.
Welcome everybody to the D4A Personal Injury Show. I'm your host, Jean-Paul, here with my co-host, and welcome back, Nikole.
Thank you. I know it's been a minute. That's what happens when you have babies.
Yes, you see. And we have a special guest here, an entrepreneur, a person who has just been motivated to teach the community about their rights, especially when it comes to personal injury and car accident related information. I want to welcome Jessica Zamora.
Hi, everyone.
And so, Jessica, tell me, the name of your law office is called ABOGADA JESS?
Well, that's actually my brand name.
All right.
I learned very quickly that in order to stick out, you should probably have a name that people can associate you with. And abogada in Spanish or in English means lawyer. And I'm a lawyer. I'm also Latina, and I speak Spanish. And my name is Jess. So I thought like abogada Jess instead of attorney Jess. That way people can start associating me with that name and hopefully put a face to that name, which is very important in this community.
Talking about face, she just gave us these amazing little beer openers with her face on them. I want to try to squeeze it in the video. They're so cool looking. I'm actually a little jealous.
So we'll definitely show her swag. Yes. And if anybody's out there who is, wants to learn how to do marketing or anything like that, obviously that right there, she nailed it by calling it Abogada Jess. It's a catchy name. People remember, and that's really all it's about, right?
Thank you.
Yeah. So I guess today we're just going to ask you some questions about, personal injury and, kind of what you do as a lawyer and how you got started.
Schooling wise, everything.
Yeah. Are you originally from here?
I am. I'm originally from Los Angeles, California, and some people say South Central LA because I grew up on 55th and Central. Very proud of my upbringing. My parents are from El Salvador. My first language is Spanish, so that's another reason why I went with Abogada Jess, and I speak fluent Spanish. So yeah, I'm from LA.
That's
Very
awesome.
good. That's great.
Repping the Spanish community.
That's great. So tell me, since you've gotten into the business, what are the main types of injury or personal injury claims that you see when you're, practicing law?
Well, good question. So I'm a personal injury attorney, and some people ask me, what does personal injury mean? Does that mean if someone hits me, can I hire you? Not necessarily like hit, but so the kind of cases that I take on are mostly car accidents. My bread and butter are car accidents, as well as slip and falls. When I say slip and falls, these are usually cases where people go to grocery stores and they fall because of the negligence of someone else. What I mean by negligence is someone probably left out a product and didn't put out warning signs, or maybe there was some water spilled and it wasn't cleaned up timely. I also do dog bites, and California's a strict liability case state where if you sue for a dog bite, you don't have to prove negligence. Usually if a dog bites you, it's automatic negligence.
Right.
But my bread and butter day in and day out is car accidents.
Car accidents. Yeah, there's always so many car accidents out there. It's unreal. It's
Welcome to
unbelievable.
LA.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you have millions of cars on the road.
Yeah.
Literally. So what inspired you to become a personal injury attorney? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I appreciate that. So like I told you, I grew up in South Central Los Angeles in a very beautiful Latino family. And unfortunately, in the area where I lived, there was a lot of crime. And I did notice that when people were in trouble with law enforcement, usually there was some kind of barrier between language barrier, like people couldn't communicate directly with the law enforcement. And I think any Latino kid that speaks Spanish can relate to this. We were our family's interpreters. So like whenever anything went down, I would help. And so family members or anything involving law enforcement or neighbors needed something, I spoke Spanish and English, so I would help translate. So as I got older, I was like, you know what? How about I become an advocate for these, for the community that I work, that I live by. And so as I got older, I thought I wanted to be a lawyer. Well, there's a lot of things. I thought I wanted to be a lawyer. I thought I wanted to be a singer. I thought I wanted to be a psychologist. I thought I wanted to be a music teacher. Like,
everybody goes through that.
Yeah, right.
Everybody goes through that.
Everyone's like, did you know you wanted to be a lawyer since you were young? And I was like, I think so, yeah. But in addition, I thought I wanted to do 15 other things. But, you know, as I got older, I went to UC Davis, great college. I'm very biased. And from there on, I majored in sociology. And one thing that I tell everyone is like, you know, if you like something, do it. So I really enjoy learning about people, why people do certain things. And sociology is kind of like the study of groups and why they do certain things. So also I'm Latina, so I call myself a chismosa. Like I like to know what's going on. I like to know like the gossip. So
Yes.
And I thought sociology was a great major for me. And in that major, there was a law and society portion where you talked about like criminology and stuff. So I thought I wanted to be a public defender. And then I went to law school at Seton Hall in New Jersey. And I think I told you the story.
Yeah, let's hear that story.
Yeah.
So why New Jersey?
Yeah, right. I was like, why would you leave Los Angeles?
Although I love New Jersey. I
haven't
did a job.
been, I still have to
it's
go.
so pretty, especially in the fall.
I'm biased. I love New Jersey. People don't give it enough credit. And you could always say New York, and people are like, I love New York. And I'm like, have you been to Jersey? And they're like, never. And I was like, well, New Jersey's great. So I ended up going there because when I applied to law school, this was in 2009. 2008 was the great crash, and everyone was applying to law school. So it was extremely competitive. I was a senior when I applied, a senior in undergrad when I applied to law school. And I applied to maybe over 50 schools, and I got rejected or waitlisted from all of them except for Seton Hall. That was the one school that accepted me. And I remember telling my family, if I get into law school, that's where I'm going. It doesn't matter because every school I'm applying to, the goal is to go to school. So I'll never forget. Thank you.
New Jersey it is.
New Jersey. So when I got my acceptance to Seton Hall, I called my mom crying and I was like, yo, voy a ser abogada. Like, there's no way. Like, I got into school. All I got to do is graduate. And there's no doubt in my mind I'm going to graduate. But yeah, so I ended up going to New Jersey and I did some internships in criminology. I did some public defending jobs and I realized that it wasn't for me. And that's the thing I encourage everyone to do. So if people are watching this and they're like, maybe, you know, I don't know what kind of law I want to practice. Should I still go to law school? Definitely. Yeah. Like, do it. Or like if you're in college and you don't even know what you want to major in, because that was me initially. I took classes on everything you can think of. I took math courses, I took science courses, I took sociology, psychology, anything, name it. And I realized I really like the study of people. Like I said, I'm a chismosa, and that's where I went. And now I'm a lawyer, and I couldn't be happier. So that's kind of my background. And then another thing I was telling you is that, you know, everyone doesn't have to have this journey where you're just going up, 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 up. It's okay to have a couple of pitfalls.
That's right.
You know?
That's a learning process.
Yes.
Exactly. Absolutely. And like one thing I've learned is that you learn from your mistakes and you just get stronger. All you have to do is have that like initial drive, or just think that, you know, if I keep working, I'm going to accomplish it. So I was telling you that I didn't pass the bar the first time in California, which is actually more common than not. And I passed my fourth time, and you know, it was that perseverance that kept me going. Like, I kept thinking, like, you know, I'm not gonna give up. I know that I can do this. And and here I am.
That's huge. I mean, look, there's a lot of people out there that after the second try, they just give up.
They do give up.
I've
heard that.
And for you to, even if it took you 10, 20, 30 times, it doesn't matter because you kept going. And that's what, that's the stuff that we love even bringing up in this show, because it gives people hope, and it makes people just become better and prosper in life versus just giving up after, a couple falls. Everybody learns from their falls and from, doing things incorrectly and then learning how to do them. That's how you
master it.
That's how you master it. Exactly.
Exactly.
Everybody who's like watched the Lakers and like all these basketball players, they watch these games and they see these athletes, score 3-pointers like it's like they're just like, letting go of the ball with their fingers. And they don't realize how much practice it takes to get there. Maybe that analogy isn't very good, but
that was kind of random.
That's the way.
Well, you like
I
basketball,
process it.
and that's awesome. No, I completely agree. And one thing that I try to do now that I have my own, like in a way, platform, because I have my own social media page, is kind of educating and inspiring people. And I mean, we all have our different reasons for why if we don't go further in a certain area, but honestly, like, I'm just telling people like, hey, I'm the perfect example that if you don't give up, you'll accomplish it. You just have to have that drive. Exactly. And it's not easy, but if anyone's watching and maybe has failed the first or second time, I'm more than happy to share my tips, information, and just encourage them, because honestly, like, we need more lawyers, and it just goes to show that you're a fighter. At the end of the day, you passed your fourth time, just lets me know that you never gave up.
That's right.
And it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, you're still called a lawyer. Like, I still passed the bar.
Exactly. So we're gonna definitely include all your information at the bottom of the video, so you'll be able to contact Jess if you're trying to pass the bar or you failed. You'll see all of our information down there.
You go.
So Jess, tell me, what do you tell your friends, your community, when it comes to hiring an attorney? What are some tips that you can give out there for some people prior to hiring an attorney? What are your ins and outs? I know you know a lot of stuff, so please share with us.
I appreciate it for thinking I'm this knowledgeable. But one thing that I always tell people is make sure that your attorney speaks your language as much as possible. So one thing that I pride myself in is that I speak Spanish. And from my experience in the personal injury field, most clients are Latinos and do speak only Spanish, which is great that I'm a lawyer and I could advocate for them and I could understand what their concerns are.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of firms don't have, well, not a lot, but there are times where firms don't have someone that speaks a language. So it's important to hire someone that can speak your language. That's number one for me. Number two is, are you speaking to a lawyer? A lot of times you call, and when you call in, maybe you're talking to an intake specialist, which is fine, but make sure that you do speak to the lawyer, because you want to make sure that they can assist you with whatever the issue is. So in personal injury, if you've been hurt, you want to make sure that the attorney understands what your dilemmas are and that can help you. And if you speak Spanish, hopefully you can speak to a Spanish-speaking lawyer. Another thing I talked about was response time. Are they getting back to you? Are they, do you call them and if they're not responding, maybe you should call someone else. And most importantly, one thing that people don't think about is fees. Even though you hear the phrase like, if you don't win, you don't pay.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean the attorney's free. And that's one I made a little video about that. I'm like, yeah, personal injury lawyers aren't free. We do get paid, and we get paid a percentage of whatever your settlement is, which a lot of people don't think that. So when you hear like, I just got you $15,000 in your case, doesn't necessarily mean that the client's getting the $15,000 straight.
Yes.
So it's understanding, having someone explain to them, how is the breakdown of the settlement gonna go? And so being transparent about that from the get-go. Like, this is the way your compensation gets broken down. We charge a percentage, and hopefully that's written down in anything that you're signing. So make sure that's written down, and then ask if the fee changes at any point. Sometimes it might change if you have to file a lawsuit. So ask about that, and then ask about how the breakdown goes, whether, and this always happens. People need to understand that their medical treatment gets paid from that compensation.
Yes, it's not free.
It's not free. So it's just kind of like, being transparent and explaining these things. And I know sometimes when you're talking to a lawyer, you might not speak about these things, but just look like, just keep this in mind when you're looking, when you're calling and hiring one. Like, hey, what are your fees? How much are you charging out of my settlement? How does this get broken down? How will this go? And then another question I get asked all the time, and I promise I'll make a video, is how long is my case gonna take? Like,
that happens all the time. Or the Googles these days. What is my case worth?
That's another one. Okay, you're giving me
so we have to talk. Jess has this Instagram which has these amazing little short videos, blurbs or what?
Yeah.
And it's just short information, and it's actually really good. You should definitely watch it.
Yeah, it's detailed. It's topic heavy, like short information or. Topic information about different
basic questions explained simply, and it
makes a lot of sense. It's really good. She's got a great following, so you guys should check her out.
No, thanks. So you're giving me inspiration for my next set of videos. It's like, how much is my case worth, and how long is my case gonna take? So
actually,
read those contracts.
I have friends that have fallen into the whole trap of like, how much is my case worth? They search on Google, they fill out some form, and a new lawyer calls them, or a lawyer
they
calls
fill out a
them.
thing, or they there's like a calculator. I saw one a while ago, like a website that like calculates it, and you input your insurance or something like that. And I'm like, what? How did they even get away with it?
I don't know.
Is that legal?
Are you even hurt?
Seriously.
I love it. Were you even in the vehicle? Like, these are very, so you're giving me more subject. Oh man, I have like 3 videos already in mind.
She's writing them down right now.
I'm writing them down.
No, just kidding.
I'm trying to think now. I guess one that's burning in my head, one of the questions, is, what type of insurance policy limits do you recommend your clients to have after they've been involved in an accident? Obviously, because that's what ends up happening. You figure out, your policy limits don't cover everything.
Listens to. Everyone needs to listen to the details on this.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm glad you're touching on this. Like, everyone buys. I mean, if you're driving, you need to have insurance, right? And California only mandates that you have minimum liability, which is $15,000 per person if you injure them, or $30,000 per accident, which means if there's more than 2 people, you have to split up that $30K amongst whoever you hurt. Right? 3 people, and that means like if you hit 4 cars, then all 4 cars, and then property damage, usually it's $5,000, which is the minimum. So if you're driving a Mercedes and someone hits you, that only has minimum liability. Good luck getting the full value of that. So what I recommend is that everyone gets uninsured motorist coverage to protect themselves, because I could easily say like get $100,000 per person and $300,000 per accident, but then that means whoever you hit is gonna be like good with $100,000. But what I'm talking about is uninsured motorist coverage, which covers yourself, and that's the only way to protect yourself before an accident, which is what I tell people. Like, you can protect yourself. So uninsured motorist coverage protects you in case the person that hits you does not have the same amount that you have, so they have a lesser amount, or if, God forbid, the person that hits you doesn't have insurance. And like I was saying, usually what I recommend, if you can do it, because everyone's different, every insurance company charges differently, if you can muster it, I would say at least $100,000 per person, or $300,000 per accident if you can muster it. And there's other companies, and I don't sell insurance, so that's what I tell everyone that calls me. Is like, I don't sell insurance. I would just call, ask around, but get more than the minimum, because I know $15,000 sounds like a lot, but when you're hurt and you're injured, that money goes like this, and then So, and I haven't even mentioned, like, not only can you recover like your medical bills, but God forbid you're off of work and you're not working. Those are lost wages right there. And if it's $15,000, it's gonna go like this, but like you're off of work for 6 months, and I'm sure, so these are things that I want people to think about. And I would suggest at least 100. You can go, I've seen some people have $500,000 to $1 million, but like, I mean, you're paying a lot of money for that. And so
I guess it just depends on like what assets you own and
Of course, everything is so expensive these days, and especially someone starting off. Like, say for instance, I have little sisters. They pay for their own insurance. Like, what kind of insurance do you think they actually have with their paychecks? I feel bad. Like,
it's true. Everything is a lot more.
They have all these billboards now of like, oh, $15 a month for your insurance, and it's like, what kind of insurance are you really getting? But they're selling this to these poor young kids who can like barely afford, $300, $400 a month in insurance, and then on top of it, maybe medical insurance. I have to buy.
That's 100%. Yeah, I've seen billboards. It's like pay as little as $1 a day. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, really? 50 cents a day? I'm like, what are you covering me for? Yeah, it's kind of my bumper. But and another thing that I tell people is like, if you have questions about insurance, I'm more than happy to answer them. I don't sell insurance myself, but I know things about insurance.
The language.
Yeah, the language, and I know like what to look for, and I welcome it. I get excited. I like networking. I like meeting new people. So yeah, definitely, I'm easily available in any platform. So just hit me up.
Super easy to speak to him. Super bubbly.
All right.
It's the easiest person in the world to speak to.
So let me go into this, Jess. In a scenario where someone owns a home and they get into a car accident, what is something a homeowner can do to protect their assets?
Very good question. So if you own a home and you hit someone, know that you're responsible for whatever injuries you cause. So a way to protect yourself is by getting really good insurance, because if you have good insurance, then hopefully they can get all the money for their medical treatment, lost wages, everything, and just pain and suffering, which is another aspect that you can recover on from the insurance. But if you don't have enough insurance, then they can go after your personal assets, aka your house. So a way that insurance companies try to protect people's homes is they sell different policies. They're known as umbrella policies. And again, I would recommend everyone to talk to whoever their insurance agent is and ask about these fees. I mean, there's so many. And like, people are like, oh, can you make a video about insurance companies that we should get? And I'm like, well, it depends. Like, it's different. Like, it depends on like if they're meeting your needs, what kind of assets you have multiple cars, what kind of driving record you have. Sometimes I tell people, oh, you might not want to go with $1 a day insurance because they probably won't cover you. Unfortunately, sometimes they have a driving record or DUI, and they're like, well, we can't get this other insurance. And I get it, like, everyone's different. But if you do have a house, I would highly recommend that you get umbrella. Yeah, because God forbid, like, I'll give a quick scenario. You hit someone, you only have $15K, but they have over $500,000 in medical bills, then you're personally liable. They can sue you, and then they can probably
when a bad day, yeah. Bad day.
So just protect yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when you have a new client, what do you recommend the people out there? How do they find doctors? How do you recommend let's say a new client signs up with you today? Where do how do you recommend them a new doctor?
Yeah, and that's the beauty of this industry, is like we get to help people, and we get to help people hopefully recover and stuff. So one way that I do it is, well, they have their primary care doctor out of very and they can get an appointment immediately. Why not?
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. If they have private insurance, I always say, hey, if you can use their insurance, you can get an appointment. That's one way of doing it. But unfortunately, this is a thing. Not everyone has the luxury of having health insurance, and so sometimes you have to find a doctor that will work with you while you're injured that takes patients without insurance. So then in that scenario, usually what I do is I research You know, you can go on Google. And then also I try to look for doctors that are within like the area where my client is. So it's not like I have one specific doctor. He sees all my clients, because I practice all over California, and I have clients. I'm very blessed. I have clients in San Diego, I have clients in Irvine, I have clients in San Jose, California, I have clients in Sacramento, and you know, everyone's gonna have different needs. So that's one thing. And then so trying to figure out, you know, what their injuries are, you know, and whether these doctors do take clients that are, you know, injured for those reasons. So when injuries happen, car accidents, usually chiropractors and physical therapists are great resources. But again, like if you have insurance, I always recommend, you know, you go to your doctor, or you go to, depending on how bad your injury is, like if you're bleeding out your ear, you might have to go to urgent care, you know, if you're in or the ER. It really does depend on your injury. That one fit, what size fits all.
Right.
But you know, I've heard too, like even after a car accident, because your adrenaline goes out, and you give it like a couple hours, sometimes the pain starts coming around then. So
yeah,
that's another thing. They think they're not injured at first, and then like 5 hours later, it's like, oh, I can't turn my neck.
Yeah, that's a thing I noticed. That, I mean, I've been blessed that I haven't been in too many accidents, but yeah, after an accident, you have a lot of adrenaline running, and it's not like a day or two when you start to feel your body swell. And obviously, a doctor would be better qualified to talk about this, but that's usually what I see. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a post on social media the other day, and it's like, if someone gets in even like a 5 or 10 mile an hour accident, and they go from, you know, 0 to or from 10 to 0 miles an hour, your body still.
It's on TikTok. There's like videos right now where you can see it with like little. They actually do it with the real people too.
What? Yeah, that's what it. We would love Trevor to do that.
I don't know, but it's mind-blowing.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's mind-blowing. Just to think about the fact that, you know, if you hit your own steering wheel or windshield, if you're not wearing a seatbelt, and if the airbags go up, the airbags can only do so much, you know?
Yeah, seatbelt saves lives, and that's another thing I realized in this. Like, I've had all types of cases, and
parents would smoke in the car, no seatbelts, you know, that was just normal.
Super careless. No, they just didn't. Yeah, when we learned from we learned from our mistake, right? So, you know, hopefully they're not fatal, but you know.
Yeah, no, that definitely has something to do, just worse.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised. Well, the East Coast is non-existent.
All right. Well, I just want to thank you so much, Jess. Again, this is Jess Zamora. Everybody, you have to check out her Instagram. Can you give us the handle to your Instagram?
Yes, thanks everyone. So it's abogada.jess, and I'm also on TikTok. It's abogada.jess, and on Facebook it's facebook.com/abogadajess. And my website is, you guessed it, www.abogadajess.com.
Oh, love it.
Super easy to remember. Again, thank you so much for coming on to our show.
Absolutely.
We had an amazing time. Amazing person. Super, super bubbly. Easy to talk to. So again, if you have any questions, all of her links will be at the bottom. And don't forget to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel.
That's right, guys. Take care.
Thanks.